Hi everyone. Today we're going to give you a tour of how our tropical fruit trees are doing about a year and a half later. Hi everyone, my name is Jackie. Welcome to the channel. We are enjoying life's journey. In May of 2020 we planted some fruit trees and we kind of started our, as I'm calling it, our back yarden. So I'm going to give you a tour of the backyard and just see how things are doing. But as you can tell behind me, our Jamaican cherry tree is doing really good. So let's start with her. Like I mentioned, this is a Jamaican cherry tree. This brings in a lot of pollinators, so you got your bees and butterflies and hummingbirds. Here's what some of the little berries look like. So this skin is actually kind of rough, so we kind of just suck the juice out of there. But they are pretty sweet. You can see it's gotten pretty big. I'll show some footage of what it looked like before. And I'll see if I can get in here. Hopefully I'm not going to disturb any bees right now. I just want to show you how big this trunk has gotten. So we do live in Arizona, so a lot of the tropical fruit trees will grow very well here. The first year they did recommend that we have a shade cover, so if you guys remember, we put some shade over this, but this one was our fastest growing one, so it shot up pretty quick. So we took the shade off of it pretty early, but it's been doing really well. You know, that trunk got really big. I'll just take a look around on the side here. So you can see the neighbor's tree here. We do want to try to trim that up. I'll get to Ricky's peppers here in a minute. I just want to give you guys an idea of how big it's gotten. When we come onto the patio, so here's a bigger view. Okay, so it's gotten quite big. We're going to try to trim it up a little bit this year, and we'll see how it goes. Right next to it we have a mulberry tree. If you remember, this one was just a twig, so we are getting in, you know, it is January right now, so this one is, you know, it will lose all of its leaves. So you can tell it got pretty burnt from the cold, but it loses its leaves in the winter anyways. But this guy, he just shot up this year. He was still a twig at the beginning of spring last year, and then he just shot up in his trunk. Wow, look at him. But he actually produced quite a bit of mulberries already the first year. So we actually froze some. I used them in smoothies and just ate some. If I get enough, maybe I can make my own mulberry wine, I don't know. But yeah, next to that one was one of our mangoes. So we have two different varieties of mulberries and two different varieties of mangoes. I don't remember which one's which. This one is doing really good. This one was had the shade over it as well. They wanted it to be in shade for 2 years and then covered during winter for 2 years. We did not cover it this year. We covered it last year, and it's just doing great. Now we have had to trim it up from the bottom because it got pretty heavy. But this one, the trunk is not growing quite as fast. I was a little worried that it's not going to be able to hold the weight of all this. So we're going to trim it up a little bit. But the first year, they did tell us the first 2 years in the ground not to let the mangoes grow, just so it can focus on the root system. Yes, we didn't let it grow. On the first 2 years, we made sure to to pop off the little stalk things. This is their second winter, so they're doing really good. You can see there's so much new growth already coming, and this is like winter. So this mango is doing great. On the other side over here, we have the other mango. This one's had a little rough of a time, but it's still doing really well. Again, everything is pretty heavy feeling. It did lose a branch this year. Right here you can kind of see, but this whole branch just snapped off, so I was really worried that it was dying on me. But it has a ton of new growth, just spotting up everywhere. We are trying to help it a little bit with the weight, so again, we'll probably trim it up a little bit. This one, the trunk hasn't gotten too much bigger yet. But what you also notice over here, we have some clover growing that we planted for our tortoises. Yeah, so the tortoises like eating grasses and weeds, so we kind of just leave them kind of growing over here for them to munch on. But we did plant the clover in there because they like clover. That one's we'll see how that goes this year. This is the other mulberry. This is the Shangri mulberry. This one gave me a ton of mulberries in the spring. You can see it's pretty much ready for winter here. Only a few leaves left to fall. Past year didn't really grow too much, so we'll see how it does this year. That's where we had an apple tree. We planted an apple tree at the same time. That one did not make it, so we're going to put a lime tree here. But this is basically the little tortoises outdoor enclosure. We got this little chicken coop thing for them, so they can kind of come in. They got like their little ramps. They can come in and get out of the elements. In here, they're not in here right now. They're outside. Basically, they have their area, and then if we're not here to watch them, we can close this door, so no animals can get them. Well, just a pan here. And then there's the garden area. So last time you guys saw, we just had our one thing here. It's covered up. Those are Ricky's peppers. They're doing amazing. I'll put a shot in here of the harvest we had just recently. But he covered them up. He covered those up for the winter. And we do have a miracle fruit bush back there. I'll give you a look at. But Ricky went ahead and did the irrigation himself. So we have irrigation coming to the beds for the gardens. We have a set coming to these trees, and then some coming to these trees here. So those are all on timers now, so I don't have to hand water them like I was before. I do need to dig out this soil and replant it. We had a cat using it as a cat box. This one, you'll see, I'll try to show you in there, but we have it all covered with chicken wire. Again, we had the cats coming in here, but also we had a whole family of squirrels that we had caught basically one by one and released them really far away. I'll show you that in a minute, the trap that we used. But what we did is we went ahead and outlined the rest of the garden that we want, but instead of trying to cover each bed, this year's goal is to go ahead and make an enclosure that covers the whole garden itself. That way it's protected from some of those animals that want to get in there. And then if we need to add, shade cloths or any type of winterizing type stuff, then we would just do it over, a good portion of the bed as a whole, or the garden as a whole, rather than each individual bed. So the goal this year is to get that closure done, and then to finish out these boxes with the meal mix. This shed we added, I wanted it to go more on the side of the house, but we have a lot of our solar setup. The solar stuff's here, and so we weren't sure how well it would fit here, if the doors would open good enough or not. So we have it here. We may try to move it down in there, but these are just, all your garden tools. So I want to try to add some kind of shelving in here as well, make it a little more organized. But this is that trap, and it's basically a squirrel trap. So we had caught like the whole family, and so we haven't seen them since, but we'll see what spring brings. So let's take a look at these peppers, if I can get under this these sheets. You can even see some down there. Oh, it's too dark. Let's take a look at the other side. We have 4 kinds of peppers growing in here, and they are just thriving, doing so good. Here we go. You can see maybe this way. You can just see so many. So we have a habanero, a ghost pepper, a bell pepper that we thought was mint. It was mislabeled, and then a jalapeno. So that's what we got there. And then this is that little miracle fruit. So this is supposed to be, if you eat these berries, this is a very slow growing thing. It needs a lot of shade. That's why we have the shade cloth year round. But supposedly, if you eat the berries, it makes anything like that's bitter tasting actually taste sweet. So I'm excited for this to hurry up and grow some berries so we can test that out. But yeah, so that's the update. That's how it's all going. Like I said, this year we want to get this whole thing enclosed and get these going, so maybe I can get some stuff planted in the spring, and then also try to get that lime tree. Stay tuned, we'll keep you updated along the way. As always, thanks for watching, and see you soon. Bye!